Get ready to do life and business on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. You either make excuses or you choose to level up. What amazing guests living the big ticket life. Woo! Woo! Brandon Britton here.
Appreciate you having me here today, man.
It's that kind of discernment, that kind of focus, that kind of forward thinking that's so important if you're going to succeed in business today.
Jeff and I are like friends. We're real friends.
We are like And so you unlock fortune and freedom without all the stress that normally comes along with it.
It all comes down to your why. Your business, why are you doing it? How is it going to change the world and what's it going to do for your family?
I want you to celebrate your success.
Talk about the struggle. But I promise you, the story is in your struggle.
They'll never be able to say that about me because people only see me working hard at anything that I'm doing whenever they see me.
Focused on your success and the success of those around you.
But being that constant in your community, good or bad, whether things are great in the community, bad in the community, who's steady?
Unapologetically do business and life on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. What amazing guests living the big ticket life. And we discuss how they do it and the big ticket methods they use. The things that make your life successful so you do life and business on your terms.
In and of itself, the only limitations that we really have on ourselves is the ones that we allow to be put on ourselves. And most people don't look at it in that perspective.
There's nothing wrong with being humble, but there's also nothing wrong with stepping into your superpower and letting people know who you are.
Get ready to do life and business on your terms and truly live your big ticket life. All right. Well, we're back for another great show. They're all great, right? I mean, every podcast host says that, but they should be great because otherwise, why would you listen to a show? Why would you tune in if the host didn't book great guests and didn't bring good information? Why would we bother? So, welcome to the show. We've got a 2-for-1. Kyle Slaymaker and Nell Tice of the Slaymaker Method. So these are good friends of mine, and excited to have you on. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So this show, I titled the case for networking, and really kind of thought two great people who do a lot of networking. We can kind of dig into this about how to approach this in business, how to approach this from a value proposition, good, bad, and ugly of it, and why it's really important to kind of get out there in some capacity, whether that's, or in any capacity, really, whether that's in a virtual setting, an in-person setting, just kind of cover the topic. So why don't we just kick it off I'm going to just throw it out there and let you dogfight over it. So when you hear the word networking, what's the first thing you think of?
Well, the first thing I think
wasn't much of a dogfight. You just gave up.
I try to let Nell showcase her stuff before I come in and just start screaming at everybody.
Take over, yeah. So I used to have a very different definition of what networking was. When I used to be in another industry, networking was basically just an excuse to get together and drink. And, the value that you get from that. I mean, it's nice to see people in person. It's nice to connect on a very human level, but networking is much more than just that. And, that's kind of transitioning into where I am now with networking. And I've made a lot of great connections in business and for life purposes too. So it's all encompassing, and it should be really fulfilling, and you should really get something out of it in both areas of your life.
Yeah, I think that, there's this big push on networking lately, right? So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a professional, you're in sales, anything that you're doing, everybody's always talking about going to these networking events, and there's paid groups, there's free groups, there's paid events, free events. Everybody, wants to network, but there seems to be a big lack of focus on how networking should be. There's a lack of focus on what networking used to be and what it needs to be. Everybody gets so lost in these, like Nell said, it's cool to have that interaction that connect on a human level, but so many people come in just to hang out. They come in to have a few drinks, to get some food, to make themselves feel popular, right? So many of these groups are really not taking advantage of what networking should be. And that's the problem that I have.
Right. Right. So from your view, in a perfect world, what does like the art of networking look like, feel like, and do for both parties?
So if I had to sum it up in one sentence, it would be a meeting that led to a beneficial relationship that brought business to both parties, right? And not just any business, but real business, right? So many people go to these events and the people they meet are almost an afterthought, right? So they could meet somebody that is right up their alley for their customers that can really supplement what they're doing, can really complement what they're doing. But because they're not there for the right reasons, the people that they meet are an afterthought. And that's the problem, right? So when I go into networking events, and you guys know, I only go to one networking event. That's it. That's the only event that I will go to, because I've been to these paid groups and they're such like a boys club to where they won't pass business if it's not directly to the people in that group. And it creates this weird, I'd say, mindset of the only way I'm going to pass business to somebody is if I know them, they're a part of this group, nobody else can do it. And that leads to such a bad experience for so many people.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that the connecting on a human level is extremely important to kind of know where the conversation is going. So if you're following up and you're having conversations after the networking event and you're continuing the relationship, that for me is the most important part. And that's where you're going to see the most benefit, because the people that you connect with on that level and continue the conversation with are most likely going to be the people that want to work with you and the people that will work with you.
Yeah, exactly. I had a guest on, and I think it was Jessica Stroud. She's in my couple of my networks. She's also in my intro reel. And one of the things that she focuses on when entering into like a referral and networking relationship with somebody is to say, how is it? Tell me how I am able to help grow your business. And if that's not a clear and concise answer that can actually fit into her world and the way she works and the goals of her primary business or businesses, then it's just not going to be a fit. And I think that's a very transparent, a very forthright way to kind of approach this topic, So I think if we extrapolate that out, it makes sense to pay attention to the groups you get into, right? The circles you hang in. Because if you can't give, how can you expect to get?
100%.
Yeah. And thinking of your, your intro video, right? You talked about, Jess Stroud, you see Sammy Knight, you see Brandon, you see Dante, you see Amy, Jess Dennehy. These are people that are fantastic at networking because they know the value of pouring into others, right? Sammy is probably the best when it comes to pouring into others. I don't think I've ever met anybody like Sammy Knight with his experience with Mossy Oak and all the stuff that he's done. That guy will bend over backwards to help other people, and he expects nothing in return. But because he expects nothing in return, everybody would do anything for that guy, whether it's business, advice, help, anything. And it's the same with anybody that we just mentioned, anybody that was in your intro video, right? It's that giving without expectation. We've all read the book. We've all heard the people, givers gain, all that other good stuff. And that really is the truth. But you have to give without that expectation. And that's where the difference is when it comes to networking.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, Kyle and I, Nell, we're all part of Apex, which is one of the largest peer-to-peer business mastermind networks out there across the nation. And really, I guess there's others from other countries, but, Sammy Knight, super successful, came on early after Mossy Oak Clothing outdoor brand was established, grew that to a massive, massive sale. 10-figure sale. Continues to this day. I believe it's an 11 companies that he owns or manages, has equity in, holdings in. And Sammy was guest number 1 on my show, simply because of being part of a great network that believes in giving first. So let's kind of take a little left turn. So for anybody listening, and people watch this show live, you get to see our pretty faces. I was given a compliment in the pre-show about how good my skin looked, which was nice. It warmed my heart, Nell. Thank you very much. But for anybody listening, watching now or watching later, so let's kind of paint a picture. You're that introvert, right? You got to grow your book of business. You're either a business owner, you're a sales executive, whatever reason, you find yourself at a 5:05 happy hour networking event in any town, USA. What can you share as a way to approach that group, as that introverted person that kind of wants to fade back into the wall and just, get their drink? When I drink, I have a whole bottle, right? I knew that prop would come in handy someday, but really, that's what happens, right? And we see that at the events that we go to together. I'm sure you've all seen it. Maybe you've been that person. So what advice do you have for that person to kind of break out and get value out of their night and their time?
Look, I'm not going to say that having a drink isn't going to help loosen things up. If that's the route you want to go down and that's what makes you feel comfortable, do it. But, for me personally, it starts before the event. So if I've got a little bit of a drive, I'm listening to some music that's really going to hype me up. I'm listening to something motivational, maybe a podcast. I am going to get in the right headspace and the mindset. And as I'm walking in the door, I'm thinking about my posture as I'm walking in. I'm thinking about how people see me when I first walk in. First impressions are everything. So if you're going to go those lengths to get there and do what you're doing, keep it going. Keep that motivation going and walk in loud and proud. And if you back off, people will sense that and they'll smell the fear. So you've really just got to be on a roll and honestly, just keep doing it.
Yeah, that's really good. And I'm going to kind of take from what Nell said from, driving in, getting ready. And I'm going to kind of touch on the stuff that I think is really important for people to hear when they're in the networking event themselves. So introverts, they may be terrified, but it's really important for them to remember that if you're an introvert, you have one of the best skills that anybody can have when it comes to business, sales, and networking. And that is the ability to be quiet and listen, right? So go ahead and initiate conversation. People are going to initiate conversations with you, but you have the skill that these people that are coming up probably don't have to your level. And that is the ability to listen. Because when you're listening, unlike my 2-year-old over there is bound to make an appearance. It's coming, honey. That's when the real stuff happens. It's coming. Okay. Are you happy? Do you want to come say hi? All right, come on.
Guest appearance.
Oh, always. She makes a guest appearance in everything. But I have a client Nell and I have a client who is very introverted and has some pretty severe confidence issues. She shouldn't, but because of past experiences, she's always kind of second guessing everything that she does. Her name is Michelle Almer. I have no problem mentioning her by name because she's a rock star. She's a killer. She has the ability to really listen to what somebody says, digest it, and then figure out how to best help them, how to best guide business to them. She's amazing. So it's all about taking out that fear, that frustration, and to sit there and say, we can do this. I can go into a networking event. I can meet 20, 30 people, but I'm also going to listen. And when you listen and start implementing, you are going to be able to give like you never thought possible. And again, give without expectation, but that stuff comes back to you tenfold.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, the show just got a little brighter. This is why it pays to watch the show. Hello. Who just joined us?
What's your name? Brinley. Are you being
Brandon,
shy?
that's what I thought, but I didn't want to be wrong.
She is the most adorable.
Yes.
She is. She's been to like the event venue and everything, and she just killed the show.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Pretty sure she ran things there too.
So I really like Nell about kind of getting yourself hyped up. I'm realizing for myself, my time for networking in my businesses has kind of changed, just because of schedule, because of commitments. But when I would go to events in person, I do get to them occasionally. I end up using that time to maybe return some phone calls in the car that don't fit into the day's schedule or that came in. So I'm misusing that time. I really like that tip of kind of getting yourself in that headspace first. I think that's a good warm up because it is an exercise, right? Like you wouldn't just go to the gym after cramming McDonald's lunch down your throat, right?
Oh, I hope not.
That would not be a good. It would not be a good workout. It would not feel good.
No. I mean, I'm a big mindset person, and I believe that before you go in to do anything, you've got to go in at 150%. So to me, that time is truly to get into that space and that mindset. And look, Jeff, when I get to the point in my business where I have to use that time to return calls too, I'll probably do that at some point.
Yeah.
But I think it's really, really important to get yourself prepped. And like Kyle said, it's very, very important to listen. And I think that for people with social anxieties, I mean, this is the creme de la creme of social events. So, being able to get in tune with yourself and being able to listen is extremely important, especially when you're someone that's thinking about, well, I just need to say something because of the awkward silence I'm afraid of, or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I see all sides to this.
Yeah. For sure. There was just something right on the top of my head that just went out the window, literally. So this is what it was. The term pouring in, and we had Jerry say, "What's up, winners?" Jerry Gherkin. Kyle, I believe you're connected pretty well to Jerry. I've seen
I love Jerry.
Jerry's name and face around the Apex world. But the term pouring in, right, seems to be a very popular term in many different circles. So pouring into your audience, pouring into your network, pouring into others. What's this mean for you, each of you? How do you define it? And why? Why doing that first?
It's a good question, right? Because like you said, you're starting to hear some terms get thrown around a lot. Pouring in, giving back, giver's gain, put in to get out, whatever. Pouring in is doing absolutely everything that you can to help anybody around you. But I'm going to put a caveat into that because, and I have my own podcast, and I know Nell listened to it. Jeff, you might have, but I had, the Silverback on, Mike Claudio. Mm-hmm. And he said something that really, really resonated with me. And it was, givers have a limit to what they can give and takers don't. There is no limit to what takers, can take. And I'm not trying to say that negatively, right? So if you're somebody who takes, that's fine, because eventually we want to see the person that takes become the person that gives. But you really have to be intentional with where you're giving, right? And that's with networking, right? Like Nell said, you can meet somebody that you have a really good feeling about, or you can meet somebody that you have a real shitty feeling about. When you have that shitty feeling, listen to what your gut is saying. Be cautious before you start giving, because at the end of the day, the people that you give to the networking group to are people that are going to, think of your reputation. They're going to say, oh, Kyle referred me to this person. It was a great experience. Or Nell referred me to this person and it was a horrible experience, right? So just be intentional, but pour into those that desperately want your help and are actually going to implement what you're teaching them, what you're showing them, what you're giving them. That's what pouring in is to me. And granted, this changed after I recorded with Mike, because I was one of those people that would just give endlessly, as much value as I possibly could to anybody who would listen, because I always felt like there's enough success to go around. Everybody deserves to live the life that the three of us on screen are living. Jeff, you've built businesses just astronomical heights. We talked about Sammy, Jess, Amy. We've got Nell here. Nell started as a client of mine. I poured every fucking thing I could into her. Ask her. She would call me and she'd be breaking down because she was in that struggle. But now look at her. She's my not just my client. She's my partner. She owns part of the Slaymaker Method with me. She's my co-main event at the summit. She is a rock star because I knew that Nell would listen to what I could teach her.
Yep.
And she did. So Nell, I ranted. You bring me down.
That's the dynamic. That's why it's a good 2-for-1 experience.
Exactly. That's why it works. I mean, I absolutely agree. Pouring into me is pouring in every ounce of energy, everything that you've got, to the right people. And that is where you truly have to check in with yourself. If you've got that shitty feeling about somebody, it's not worth it. Don't spend that energy that you could be spending on somebody that is. And you'll know that. You can trust your gut feeling on this. And when you're spending time pouring in to people, to everyone, you are absolutely going to exhaust yourself to points where the people that do mean something with what they're receiving from you aren't going to receive the best. And that, to me, is a version of failure. And I would never want to overextend myself on something that is worthless to me. So being picky and choosy with your networking and who you're pouring your energy into is extremely important.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm in a shift mode, discreetly with the big ticket life brand, where I'm really not aggressing and going after new coaching clients, because I did that. I started it and I realized I don't like it. I don't like it because here's why. And it's this pouring in concept, and it's where you can give and give and give. But ultimately, what ended up happening as I launched out the beginning of this year is I became a psychotherapist for the clients that came on board. Now, maybe that was a mismatch. Everybody felt there was value, but the reality is the implementation, the willingness to take what was being given and go put it to work wasn't there. And that just doesn't excite me. I don't want to be the type of a business where it's this ethereal idea machine coming back in a feedback loop of, well, hey, all that's great. I get it. This is what I want. But, my business still sucks. My employees are rough. My relationships are terrible. But I really enjoy just having a shoulder to talk to, a shoulder to cry on, somebody to talk to. That's just not my thing. So like my impact now is getting involved with businesses where I can be a part of the upside, a part of the growth, a part of the equity. So it's a quality over quantity conversation. And it really matches where I want to go in life in the next 5 years for me. So that pouring in aspect of things, I think is spot on. And you have to be real clear on the who, right? Which is really now a marketing conversation, if you will, right? Because I just spent some time on a entrepreneurs forum, and a young kid came to the group with an idea. And I said, look, it all sounds great. The reality is you're talking about $85 of a table fee and some material and your time, you seem to love making these projects. The reality is, until you go do it, like get in the arena and fight, you have no idea. You're building this business on spreadsheets and ideas, feedback loops from other people here on this forum. Just get out there and go do it. It's $85. You have it. Your grandma gave you this money. Go do it. Like, go freaking try. And
Jeff, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but as soon as you said one thing in there, my mind was like a million miles an hour in one direction. But please finish your thought. I know. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think to put a bow on my little comment there is, we do have to get out there and try these things. So, I mean, again, in the context of our topic today, like I hope people can listen and approach it with some openness of like trying some of these things that we've shared at the next event, at the next effort. I think fear of pouring into people comes up. So maybe we can talk on that. Like, well, what if I give advice and it doesn't be received well? But Kyle, let's finish your thought there, and then we can maybe talk about the fear of pouring into others.
Yeah, I mean, I can tie them both in together. So, you know, I saw you talking about what you're doing with the big ticket life and how, you know, you have your vision of where you're going with the, you know, the people that are more ready to implement stuff like that. But I've had this conversation with Nell many times. And I think when I first signed her as a client after I chased her for a year, I said, like, you know, at this stage of entrepreneurship, when you're either just starting out or you're starting to scale, a lot of times there's usually a personal reason that's blocking the business clarity, right? There's a personal, whether it's, I don't care what the hell you're going through. I don't care if it's divorce, loss, anything, addiction, anything. There's usually a personal aspect to what I have found blocks a lot of my clients, our clients. Eventually, no, it'll be our. I'll never say my.
I don't know about that.
But like, again, so let's talk about Michelle Ulmer. Like we talked about earlier, Michelle has all the makings to be an absolute rock star. She's implemented perfectly. But I always find myself, and Nell as well, you know, helping guide her through the personal stuff too, because it's quite simply one of those things at the level of coaching where we want to be at that has to happen, right? So if you guys have listened to what Jeff has said, yes, you have to be ready to implement 100%. If you're going to hire a coach and go out of your way to get advice, get coaching, get a roadmap, get a game plan, and you're not ready to implement, don't hire. If you're with me and you're not ready to tackle the business stuff and the personal stuff and get you to where you want to be, don't hire. Right? You have to be fully committed. And this is what I talked about with the fear of pouring in. It took me a long time to really be able to do that because I was like, okay, I'm a business coach, but here I am talking to this person about, you know, his time with his wife and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I really qualified and capable? And yeah, it does go into that therapy, psychotherapy stuff. It does. And that makes some people uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, if you're going to hire a Jeff, if you're going to hire a Nell and myself, you have to be ready to implement. And part of that implementation, and Nell will back me up, Jeff, you know I coach this way, you have to give back. You have to give value. You have to pour into others. So that fear of pouring into others, when it comes down to, does anybody give a shit about what I have to say? Right? And I'm gonna call her out again. Michelle, I know hopefully you're watching at this point. Michelle wrote a status the other night, and she was terrified to post it. Terrified. She texted me all effing day. How does this sound? It sounds great. You're going to be great. It's going to be freeing. It's going to be liberating. It's going to help you with your focus. Trust me. She kept pushing. She kept pushing. No. And finally, I was like, why the fuck are we having this conversation? If you're not ready, don't post it. Why the fuck are we talking? Right? And she posted it. And I could show you probably 30 messages from her since she posted. Oh my God, people are messaging me. People are saying they're going through what I went through and they're thanking me for my post. They're thanking me for what I'm doing. That's the important part. I don't care how scared you are. If you can change one person's life, just one, with a single post, a single text, a single statement, is it not worth it?
100%.
So don't worry about the fear. People spend so much time worrying about the haters and the people that are like, oh, look at this son of a bitch. He's going to fail. Oh, what's Kyle doing? Yeah. Oh, he thinks he's real big. He started his own business. Yeah. And now I have billboards and a big event and I've been in magazines. Same thing with Nell. People looked at Nell like, oh, I don't know. Is she really going to be able to do this? She's crushing it. But you know what? She doesn't listen to those people. She doesn't. She listens to the people that are getting value and she's making a difference for. So take that fear out of pouring in and just do it.
Yeah. Usually there's a threshold. And, you know, I think that one of the reasons why Kyle brought me onto the Slaymaker Method is because I helped to balance out, you know, Kyle's an amazing business coach. He's helped me get to where I am today. And, the one thing that I felt that maybe I could have used was, and Kyle, I think, kind of went into this with me maybe first, was a little more of that life coaching side. And because that whole thing where you can't bring your personal stuff to work, that's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, for me, it's not separate. Business and life and person, I mean, it all runs in the same circle.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you have to be the best version of yourself. And I know that sounds so cliche, and that phrase is so used right now, but it's true. You really have to push through what you're working at personally and to get over that threshold. And once you do, it's a feeling I can't explain. And honestly, once you do it, it's addicting and you just want to keep doing it.
Actually, the only reason I brought Nell in is because I needed somebody that looked better than myself. So,
that's a compliment. Thank you.
Take it back.
We got Billy Zerillo joining us from Battlefield Mastermind. Billy, what's up, man? Hope you're well.
Hey, Billy.
Just a little brief commercial, if you will. Our team at Cast Ahead's fantastic. So I love live streaming these shows because, look, if you're going to record a podcast, you're going to take the time to do it. You may as well get more from the effort. I'm a big fan of the Henry Ford quote, "We use all parts of the pig." Little useless trivia fact: Kingsford charcoal actually is a result of the Henry Ford production process. It was the charred pallets that had grease on them from the factory. So look, if you're going to do a live stream, Cast Ahead's fantastic. We got Russ manning the controls today because Chris is at Outbound Sales Conference, which is appropriate for our time today. We'll get to this in a little bit, but Chris is out there with others, iron sharpening iron, and we got Russ back there. So if you're watching and you want to connect, but you don't want to click away, Russ, maybe we can, as we're going through, he's been summing up the salient points, but I want people to connect with Nell and with Kyle. So maybe we get their socials up, but we always put them in the show notes. They're in the links where you're watching this right now. So if you need live stream podcasting help, I can't talk enough about Cast Ahead. They're just fantastic people, fantastic team that Chris has built, and everything keeps going, even as he's out there leading the team, iron sharpening iron, which is really fantastic. And that's why I'm happy to be their client. But so I want to make another turn in our conversation, around that, kind of going back to our avatar, this person we're talking about at a networking event. And so you're taking your advice now. We're pumped up, right? We're excited to be there. We want to be there. And so we're in the right mindset. We're ready to go. It's past the mic time, right? Microphone's coming around.
Yeah.
How do you lead off for that introvert? Or let's just say you're an extrovert just looking for a new edge, a new angle. Any thoughts there?
Yeah. I think about what I've even learned from speaking coaching. I really try to reel people in. Like, your first line, your first everything is your first impression. So I sometimes will use a comedic piece or just something that sets you apart, something that gives you a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a difference, rather than just the "hi, my name is." And, really get behind the voice too. Don't, that timid nature, the shakiness in your voice. People can smell these things, can hear these things from a mile away. So even if you have to practice before you go to that event, take some time that day and just pretend that you're in front of people. How are you introducing yourselves? The handshake, just this little dainty handshake isn't going to cut it. People get this energy from you and they want to turn away. So, put that confidence behind your voice, I think, is the most important thing, but definitely set yourself aside from others too.
Yep.
Yeah. The mindset stuff, the positivity, the confidence, it goes such a long way. Right. And it's one of those things, especially and I don't care whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, when you walk into these new events and you're seeing new people, I don't care if you are just starting out or you have been to 1,000 networking events and you're a multi-billionaire, right? Meeting new people can be daunting. It can be scary. It's crazy. I know of people that are, powerhouses in business. We are talking people that have made hundreds of millions in profit, just powerhouses that still get worried when they meet somebody new because they want to make sure they're providing that good first impression. But the best advice I can give, and like Nell touched on, have that confidence behind your voice, have that handshake, but just understand that the worst thing that can happen if you do mess it up, if you stutter, if you get nervous, is quite literally nothing. Right. So, and I have this conversation with my coaching clients a lot, especially my solopreneurs that have a side hustle and are getting ready to go full time. You really don't have anything to lose. Right. And somebody, they can hear that and be like, oh, that's impossible. I could lose all this. But think of the important shit in your life. Okay. So, and I'm going to go right back to Nell because I had this conversation with her twice, right? A year before I got her as a client and then a year when I closed her. I said, she was like, well, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? And I said, well, this is what happens. You have your husband. Yeah. So whether you become a huge success or you go back into the 9-to-5 workforce, are you still going to have your husband? Yeah. Well, it's the same thing for everybody else. You're still going to have your kids. You're still going to have your family. You're still going to have your real friends. So don't be so nervous. Just go. Just do it. I ask Nell. She will tell you, like, when I get an idea, there's like no thought. It's not like, holy shit, this is a big risk. I'm like, fuck it. Let's go. We're going.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm still going to have Elizabeth. I'm still going to have Nell. I'm still going to have my kids. I'm still going to have Jeff and everybody watching, because that's what the beauty of it is. There is no real failure as long as you know that the only way to actually fuck up, the actual way to fail, is if you don't try. So if you go to a networking event and you sit in the corner, that's failing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So two things on that. I'll give a little tactical one and a little more mindset contribution. So when it's my turn to grab the mic at these events, I lead off with, hey, I'm Jeff. I do business in your bedroom. And I'm really great at creating an amazing experience in the bedroom. Experience is my thing. I sell mattresses.
I love that.
I do it damn well. Right? Like, it depends on the room, right? I might put that secondary. I'm really great at creating the art of experience, because that's like the folks that I work with. That's where I come in to businesses. So like, I'm not for that solo entrepreneur who's coming out of the full-time job side hustle thing. That's just not where I'm at, not the folks that I'm working with. There's a lot of people out there, great people out there that can help. I'm like that integrator type run business who can prove that we're doing business. We've got teams in place and they want to go to the next level, but they're just not sure what that looks like. They've been turning the wrenches, they've been hammering the nails. They're very good, very competent. They know their costs. I help those people bring amazing experience in. So I might tack that on at the end of my shoot. That was bad. Just pulled my earbuds right out of my ears.
Got too excited.
This is why you watch the live show, because you get the comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so those are the kinds of folks that I work with. But from the mindset approach, so taking it from this tense moment of, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail in my introduction. So what? There's going to be another event. And I was reading some comments somewhere. I forget. Somebody was coming to a group about, hey, I'm facing bankruptcy. I don't know what to do. So afraid of this. And you guys both talked about it. Like your family, your friends are still going to be around there with you. And this fear of what others are going to think, the only people that care about that are the people that thrive on negative drama. And guess what? They're going to move on, because that dopamine of negativity, that hit, they're going to look for the next hit in the next 15 seconds, not even 15 minutes anymore. So your bankruptcy, your failure, your divorce, your business having a 20% decline in sales or whatever it is, just keep grinding. because the only people that care are going to care for 15 seconds and are going to move on. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if somebody is actually thriving on your failures, if they laugh behind your back or in front of your face at you for 15 seconds, what difference does that make for you?
Right.
What difference does it make? You're going to go on and do the same things that you keep doing, and you're just going to move forward, whether they do that or not. So why dwell on it?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. 100%. You know what? It was on that note, when I was on the road sales rep in the mattress and furniture industry, I was in that industry. It's kind of like a legacy business, right? Like your great grandfather, your grandfather represented a factory. The line was passed down to the sons, the grandsons, the daughters, etc. So as a new guy coming in to a really developed territory here in the Northeast area, it was difficult. So I did things different. Went and bought a van, drove samples around, like lived on the road. And I had other reps that just hated my guts because I was out working them. And retailers would talk because those reps sold those retailers just like me. And I would say, you know what? I don't want to spend time on this. I go to bed every night with those people not liking me, and it doesn't bother me at all. I'm here to grow your business right now. If they come here to talk to you about me, they're wasting your time. They're doing you a disservice. They're doing their factory a disservice. And I know getting to a point with you is awful difficult. So I can't believe we're even talking about this, but if you want to grow your business, let's do it. If you want to talk about that guy, fine. I'm never going to call on you again. And he'll go to bed tonight just as mad as me tonight as he was yesterday and the day before and the day before. But I'm going to keep working. And I think that's just how you have to handle these things that come up to you that you might be afraid of, that you might be fearful of. You just have to let it roll off your back.
Yeah.
Having a headphone malfunction today.
So recently I purchased for my media business, I have a lens hood I needed to replace in my camera. And that lens hood, what it does is block out all of the light filtering in from the sides. And, what you really have to do is put a lens hood on and block out all of that, the extra, it's not even light, it's darkness. Block all of that out and just literally straight ahead and keep grinding, keep doing what you do, and you will get there. And all of that extra bullshit just gone. Who needs it?
Yeah.
Just go.
So I referenced it a little bit ago about iron sharpening iron, where our leader at Cast Ahead, who's, again, can't give enough props for them for producing all of my shows. And by the way, just on a note of networking before we move on, so the networking that I continue to do is just done a little differently, and they produce our Lancaster Connect show. So if you just check out any Lancaster Connect show that we're doing, it's networking. It's networking for my retail business, where I just don't have the time per se to go out and, shake the hands and kiss the babies, as you might put it. Right. But I'm networking in a different way, and it has really great social impact because we're highlighting amazing, amazing charities. By the way, Kyle got to speak. I didn't say her name, but I referenced her. Great work. Miss Elizabeth, great work in the autistic space. Said that our school district locally lost an amazing teacher, but one in Lancaster County got her. She happens to be, so Lancaster Connects is one of the ways that I network. So it can look different. It doesn't just have to be the typical 505 drink in your hand. Hey, I'm the insurance guy. It doesn't have to be that. It can be different things, right? It can have impact that way. But so I was speaking about Miss Elizabeth, who is actually one of the speakers at the Slaymaker Success Summit coming up. And I'd be remiss to not give you all time to talk about that because it's a great event. I'm speaking at it. So just because I'm going to be there, it's going to be great. But, this is important because this iron sharpening iron, creating that lens blocker, being somebody that you can let the haters just roll right off your back, that comes from somewhere. And to me, that place is from getting out of the usual circles, getting away from the usual suspects, pushing yourself outside of your industry to see what others are doing and rub elbows with people that are succeeding on your level, but differently in different ways, is all really important. And that's really why we're coming together October 14th So let's dig into that. We can talk about the speakers. I already alluded to one, Miss Elizabeth. Yeah, let's jump in.
Yeah, so Nell and myself, as the Slaymaker Method, we are putting on an event in Hershey, Pennsylvania, October 14th from 10 to 4. Guest arrival is right around 9:30. We're going to get everybody seated. We've got a really good, well-known local MC. We've got speakers from around the country coming in. So not only am I speaking, not only is the ever so amazing Miss Elizabeth speaking, the ever so amazing Nell Tice is speaking, I am speaking, Jeff is speaking, Matt Rhoda from Battlefield Mastermind and Rhoda Marketing is speaking. So many people. So let's see. Let's try to hit on some speakers. There's my beautiful face because I'm amazing. There's Nell's beautiful face because she's a rock star. There's Jeff's beautiful face. See, you guys know everybody at this point. This one I'm really excited about. Caitlin Shipman. Caitlin is an entrepreneur from Ohio. She started with a single food cart and a dream. She's gotten so big that she does catering now, but also franchise owners, these big 7-8 figure earning businesses are actually petitioning local government to keep her out. So when they see her set up, they are literally contacting their local government to say, hey, we don't want her in. She's taking our business. That's one woman with a dream, one food cart, and she's crushing it.
Love it.
Next up, oh, she's amazing. Next up, we got Phil Sessions. Phil is a rock star public speaking coach. Phil's going to speak on how to use public speaking, how to leverage public speaking at events, on podcasts, on everything to make sure that you're building your brand and bringing in money to label yourself as an expert and an authority in your industry. Next up, we have the ever so awesome Matthew Rhoda. Anybody that knows Matt, the guy's a monster in like literally every fucking aspect that you can think of, right? So he's a very successful business owner. He knows marketing and digital marketing like nobody's business. He also is probably the most ridiculously fit person I've ever met. Like this guy will, like, what was it? Like a few months ago, he was like, I think I'm going to run like 40 miles tonight. And we were all like, are you stupid? Why would you do that? Like no, who wants to do it with me? Not my ass. I'm going to be asleep. Right. But He loves it. He loves it. So it's going to be great. And then of course we have the absolutely amazing, my wife, the reason I am where I am today, Miss Elizabeth. So to give you a little bit of background on my wife, hopefully she watches this and then we have a great night together. We'll see. Right. So my wife is the most selfless, giving back person that there is. She has spent over 20 years in the special education field. She taught in Jeff's district for a little bit. Now she teaches at a local district down here. She works with kids on the autism spectrum, but she also is a world-class mindset person. If you want to talk about a person that knows how to really do mind training and get everybody set up to actually succeed and listen to everything that's going to be said at the event, this is the one. And I promise you, she may be opening the show, but she's going to be one of the best on stage, the best. And there may be a celebrity cameo. No, why don't you take over?
Well, I mean, I just want to elaborate. I mentioned first impressions and how important they were earlier. And, considering Miss Elizabeth is our opener, first impression is everything. And we really set ourselves up to win there.
Yeah, it's going to be a good event. And we're also going to be live streaming, right? So we have VIP tickets available. We have general admission tickets available. We've got sponsors, including Jeff and Matt. But we started getting, and again, like we also have attendees coming in from all throughout the country. We have people from as far out as Utah, California, flying in specifically for this event because of the level of speakers that we have, the level of speakers that Nell and I have brought in. But there's a lot of people that started talking about like, hey, I really want to fly in, but we can't do it right now. We've got all this other stuff going on. So we decided we're going to live stream the event. Okay. And I am very pleased to announce, very happy to announce that not only are we live streaming the event, the live stream is being sponsored by John Ellis at Create Socially, who is a rock star in his own coaching stuff, his own digital marketing stuff. He's awesome. He's going to be running the live stream for us. Live stream tickets are going to come to $50 a piece. We are going to make sure that everybody has access to the live stream that wants it. That way, there is not a single person that wants to see this event that doesn't get to see it. So if you're on the fence and you can be in person, get the in-person tickets because we've got a lot of extra stuff planned for those that can actually be there. But if you still want to see it, you still want to get value that you can't get anywhere else, grab the live stream tickets. We're going to be posting them probably in the next 24, 48 hours. Nell, anything you want to add on to that?
Yeah, so we've got the live stream tickets coming up, available soon. For general admission, I just want to talk about a little bit about what you get for each ticket. So general admission gets you admittance to the event. We also have lunch provided and networking breaks for everyone there.
And a cash bar.
Oh yes, and a cash bar. So for VIP tickets, we have available as well. You get premium seating. There's a swag bag, lunch included, networking breaks, cash bar, and there's also a VIP dinner to attend that night. So for some extra value, extra everything, you can get that. And that's an amazing, the best value, I think, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And, listen, I would love for you to be at this event, but I think the reason why you need to be at this event needs to be discussed as we wrap up our time together. The value of getting to events, right? More than just the fact that it is being put on by my two guests. And I'm not afraid of saying that what you just heard for the last 4 minutes out of our hour together, yeah, it was a shameless commercial. My show, my rules, get over it. Just how it goes. But we gave you a lot of value before that, and we're going to wrap up with value. I'm a big believer in getting to events. So the live stream's cool. If you have the ability to sit distraction free in front of your computer, do it. 100% do it. Just as something that comes up, are we going to have this recorded for later for people?
That's the idea. We're still working out the logistics of that, but we are planning on recording it.
Okay. So maybe you don't have to sit all day on the 14th, but look, the reality is if you're not going to commit to the day on the 14th, you're probably not going to commit to digging into the recording afterwards. So I would just challenge you that if you want really great people and the people that are coming, the people that are attending, and I've seen the people confirm they're coming and they're good quality caliber people as attendees. Like if you want to rub elbows with great people, get to this event in person. I have built my success on getting to events. I've gone to events in California, in Ohio, in Florida, all over the country, all over the world, really. There's nothing like getting out of your day-to-day thing and putting yourself into a new pond, into a new ecosystem, and rubbing elbows with other people that are committed to their own success. When you get into that space, life changes. That's why these events can be life-changing for you, but you got to come, like Nell said, get that hype music going, get yourself in that right mind, prepare yourself that, October 14th is going to be a great day for you, because it is, because I know everybody's speaking, and they are truly committed to bringing you an immense amount of value from the front of that room.
Yeah, Jeff, I want to mention, who this event is for. And this event is for whether you're step one in your business. I'm going to personally be speaking on pivoting from your 9-to-5 to full-time entrepreneurship. So that's, if you're step one or step 927 in your business, it's for you. It's for all of you. So I agree. Attend in person if you can. And, as long as you're ready to do the work and receive the information and the value that you are going to be receiving, that is who should be attending.
Yeah. And, just to close it out, again, we've got people not just on stage, but in the audience as well that, again, are in the side hustle stage. And we've got people in that room not on stage, in the crowd, like I said, that are pulling 7-8 figures in revenue and some of them even profit. Like we have some very, very big people. We have the Pennsylvania and beyond in this room for a reason, because we want to make sure that you're all connecting with these people that can elevate you, that can bring you up. You're going to learn about business. You're going to learn about skills that you can use, not even just in business, but that's what's important to us. We are going to absolutely take over. Medium, the Medium magazine, medium.com, reached out and did an article on our event specifically. That is an internationally known publication, because that's how much buzz is surrounding this event. So I hope and I pray to see you all there. And I want every person that's going to be there to take real and true action. So I appreciate Jeff, you letting me do my our commercial. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I think it's a commercial, but there's learning here. And, we got a couple minutes left. Put yourself in this mind space on a Friday, first and foremost. What are your competitors doing? Counting the hours till TGIF. You're out there putting yourself in an immersive experience that a lot of people are kind of like still slow playing because of the last 2.5 years, right? Like my whole thing, my retail business, we're 13-time Reader's Choice Award winner. I wouldn't want to compete against myself. I don't say that to sound arrogant. I say that because I challenge myself to do better year over year over year. And getting to events like this has been part of that success recipe and continues to be. Even though I speak at events, I still go to events.
Yeah.
All right. The learning never stops, and it shouldn't for you. So getting into rooms where you unplug from the busy work, you unplug from the spreadsheets and the checklists and the TPS reports, right? And you get yourself into a room of really winners, and that's what this room is going to be about. It's going to be changing. If you've not done a lot of it, if this will be your first time, it'll be an amazing time.
Yeah, you said something that I want to jump on, Jeff. You mentioned about how, what do you think your competitors are doing on a Friday, this time of year? The weather's beautiful. Let's be real here. Like, we all know where the economy has been trending. We all know that inflation's hitting. Everybody's, kind of hedging their bets and playing it safe. But I want to impress upon the listeners something very, very effing important. And that is, look at the businesses who made a killing during COVID. Look at the solopreneurs who ended up scaling during COVID. And look at the people that just kind of played it safe. Look at the people that, they shut down and, for one reason or another. True growth happens in these periods by the people that mash that pedal to the fucking ground. This is where the growth happens. I don't care how scared you are of the economy. I don't care how scared you are of the times that are coming. If you want to grow, and Jeff will absolutely back me up on this fact because he's been in business for a long time. The times when everybody else is slowing down, speed the fuck up. And this is that chance.
100%. Yep. My line in my business is we're going to make the divide wider every day. Just make it that much harder to catch up. That's our goal. And it starts with you getting to the event. So I don't think we've actually announced it. Shame on me. I should know better. We've had it scrolling on the screen, but if you're listening, it's the slaymakermethod.com/summit. Likely it's in our show notes. And if it's not, I'll make sure it's in the link where you're watching this, catching it replay. But that's slaymakermethod.com/summit. You can get a live stream ticket. You can get a general admission ticket or a VIP ticket. All the links are on the site. And man, I know Kyle, Nell would just be honored if you joined. I'd be honored if you'd be there because it's an event I care about and that I believe in. So as we wrap up, any parting words?
Jeff, I do want to mention that we just added another event the night before the Slaymaker Method Success Summit. It is called the Power Up event. It is going to be at the amazing, awesome Trogs Brewery in Hershey. And it's a smaller networking event, but it gives you the opportunity to connect with more people. It's being hosted by Michael Powers, author of Crushing Your Fear, and Jeremy Schreifels, which he's an award-winning, internationally known music producer. So, I mean, these are people that you need to be in the same room with. So wait, you're actually practicing what you preach by getting yourself in the right headspace in advance of a full day event.
Yes, exactly.
Imagine that, right? Like I said, I'd be honored to stand with these people. They're actually doing it.
What a concept, right?
Love it.
So we'll also make sure to include that event in the show notes as well. So
perfect.
Awesome. I don't think I have anything left to say for the first time in my life. I mean, this is a great episode. So enjoy it, because I promise you I'm going to talk nonstop at that event.
Yeah, save it, Kyle.
All right. Very good. Well, look, Kyle, Nell, pleasure to have you on the show. This has been another great episode, and I look forward to seeing everybody next week on the Big Ticket Life. Take care. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of the Big Ticket Life. You've heard from another amazing guest living their own big ticket life, and now it's time to live yours. First, I'd love for you to take me up on my free gift to you. Claim your gift at gift.thebigticketlife.live. That's gift.thebigticketlife.live. See, all your life you've been told what is and what isn't possible by the loudest voices from the cheapest seats. It's time to finally do life and business on your terms. Sure, you've heard similar things, but without clarity on what can be done, it's easy to have your customers, employees, maybe even partners, and your spouse keep you from truly living a big ticket life. My big ticket methods shift you into that investor seat in your business, away from commodity and away from competition, into a market of one, so you can finally live your own big ticket life. So my gift to you is for you to book your discovery call today, where we'll uncover first the Chivo behaviors, those chief everything officer behaviors that hold you back, and why moving into the investor seat in your own business is critical. 2, we'll uncover the premium position that's up for grabs right now in your market that you're missing out on. And 3, which big ticket methodologies are just waiting to be dropped into your business to explode your sales and profits. So again, thanks for listening to this episode. I'd love for you to take action right now. Accept this gift. Book your call. Go to gift.thebigticketlife.live. Again, that's gift.thebigticketlife.live.